think I got it fixed.
I think I got it fixed. I think I got it fixed. I think I got it fixed. I think I got it fixed.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Please let me know in the chat if you're with me, if you can hear me. I was having technical difficulties this morning. I apologize. So let's just start fresh. Let's just start fresh this morning as if we didn't have any of these problems. Please forgive me. So welcome this morning to this segment of the after parties, me, the jury. I'm your host, Tam, not your lawyer, but your nosy best friend. So let's get started. I was planning to talk to you guys today about the Jesse Butler case. And then I started having all these technical difficulties. Somebody don't want me to talk to y'all about this. But we're going to talk about it regardless. We're going to have this conversation, okay? If y'all are back, let me know in the chat that you can see me, that you can hear me. I need to hear from you guys. Okay, I'm going to assume that you can hear me, you can see me, and we're back in the saddle again. Okay, this that you see here is Jesse Butler. Jesse Butler was or is an 18-year-old man in Oklahoma. He was accused of some very violent crimes and ultimately admitted to these crimes. I'm going to read out some of these crimes to you guys, that things that he was charged with. He initially was charged with attempted rape in the first degree, rape by instrumentation, sexual battery, forcible sodomy, forcible oral sodomy, I apologize, attempted rape in the first degree, rape by instrumentation, domestic assault and battery by strangulation, domestic assault and battery by strangulation is two different victims, so two different charges, rape by instrumentation, and another count of domestic assault and battery. Those are 10 counts that he was initially charged with. And each of those counts held pretty significant penalties. Let's start with the first. Count one, a term of 10 years. Count two, 10 years. Three, 10 years. 4, 10 years. 5, 10 years. 6, 10 years. 7, 3 years. 8, 3 years. 9, 10 years, and count 10, 1 year. And then the victims in this case asked for a restraining order, and they were granted one, and he violated that restraining order and then was given a violation of the protective order, and an additional year was added on to the charges. So this is what's going on with the Jesse Butler trial. He was initially charged Are you guys still saying no sound? Hi Tone. Can you let me know if you have sound? Because I was having some technical difficulties. I want to make sure that you guys can hear me now. Um, so initially he was charged as an adult in this case, and later, because of it's speculated that because of some privilege and money and who those charges was later um, reduced to a youthful offender charge, which means that instead of him receiving these maximum penalties that I just read out, they were able to charge him as a youth, and he was able to plead no contest to all of these charges. And his sentence then was reduced from a possible 78 years to an ankle monitor, probation, and then he would be released from that probation in a year. So for his 19th birthday, he would be released back into the wild. And that's how I see it, because these crimes were so graphic. I cannot believe that he will not reoffend. I want to talk to you about these victims because they did write victim statements. There were two different girlfriends that he had, and he assaulted both of those young ladies, and their stories were very similar. One young lady says that she was house sitting and he came there and assaulted her in the house that she was house sitting for. The other young lady describes a time when she was at his home and his parents were home, and he tried to assault her, and she was screaming, and there was a tussle in the media room of his home, and the mother came and knocked on the door and said, "Is everything all right?" She didn't come into the room, and she left them to their business. But because of that, because of the mother knocking on the door, he took the young lady out of there and said, "Okay, I'll take you home." On the way to taking her home, he stopped on the side of the road and raped her in the car. Um, it's no way that these are just one-offs. I mean, it happened to two different girls. Their stories are very similar. It's going to probably happen again. And especially when there's no penalty, right? There's no penalty for his crimes. I was hoping to show you the videos of his crime, of his arrest, but I'm having all kinds of technical difficulties this morning, so maybe it wasn't meant for me to show you these videos, and perhaps I'll be able to link the video later on. But he was treated very gingerly during this arrest. His mom was able to talk to him and coax him down, and the officers were very, very gentle with him, explaining what they were going to do in the process. And when they went to handcuff him, his mother was like, "Well, is that necessary? Ma'am, your son is being accused of these very, very vicious crimes." Let me tell you something. If he looked a little differently, okay, y'all know the rest. If he looked a little differently, you know the rest, okay? So They explained to her, yes, it's for our safety, it's protocol, we have to handcuff him, whatever. And as they're walking to the car, mom says, this is a really awful experience for a child. And you guys, I wanted y'all to hear that. That's why I'm really angry about these technical difficulties I'm having this morning. But that bothered me as a mother. If I find out that my child is being charged with something this vicious, I can't imagine that I would only be thinking of my child. What about the victims in this case? It was a really awful experience for those two young ladies to experience as a child. They didn't ask for this. I'm going to read you as much of the victim statements as I can because a lot of things have been redacted. Um, and I'm also going to read what the factual basis to support his arrest, the story that the prosecution intended to prove if they had gone to trial. Okay, so in support of counts 1, 2, and 3, state witnesses would testify that on February 2nd, 2024, near 229 South in Stillwater, Oklahoma, while parked in defendant's pickup truck, defendant forcibly removed her clothing, pinned her down, sat on top of her, touched and bit her breasts, and inserted his fingers into her without her consent, as she repeatedly told the defendant no and tried to push him off her. She would further testify that the defendant apologized for what he was about to do, but he had to do it and was about to insert himself inside her when a pedestrian called out from the street and interrupted him. Okay? In support of count 4, the state's witnesses would testify that in early February 2024, while parked outside Planet Fitness in Stillwater, Oklahoma, defendant exposed himself and forced her head and mouth upon him as she cried. In support of count 5, state witnesses would testify that in early February 2024, she was with the defendant at his home to watch movies when he forcefully removed her clothing, touched her body in intimate areas, and she cried for him to stop. She would further testify that the defendant removed his underwear and told her he wanted to be inside her as he pushed into her groin area. She would testify this attempt by the defendant was interrupted by his mother asking him from outside the room if everything was okay. In support of count 6, state's witness would testify she was with the defendant in February 2024 in the parking lot of the Hampton Inn, where the defendant removed her pants and underwear against her will and forcefully placed his fingers inside her, telling her he was not going to stop until he got 3 fingers inside. She would also testify she later found blood in her intimate area. In support of count 7, the state's witness would testify that on or about the 29th of February, in the parking lot of a Walmart, the defendant pinned her down inside her vehicle, straddled her, and used his hand upon her neck to strangle her until her vision became blurry and she became dizzy and confused. She would further testify that subsequent to this incident, she suffered pain, discomfort in her throat, and has had a surgical procedure to address abnormal findings within her neck that are believed to have been exacerbated by the trauma of this event. In support of count 11, the state's witness would testify that on February 7th, 2025, while a protective order was in place, ordering the defendant to avoid contact with the defendant voluntarily and intentionally placed himself within 6 feet of her at a school function and remained there despite the orders directing him to avoid such contact. In support of count 8, state's witness would testify that on July 7th, 2024, while she house sat for another family, the defendant became angry with her, approached her from behind, placed his arm around her neck, and strangled her to unconsciousness. She will further testify that during this incident, she could not breathe and attempted to get away from the defendant's control. In support of count 9, state's witness would testify that during the summer of 2024, she was with the defendant at the Stillwater County Country Club, where he aggressively penetrated her with his fingers against her will as she attempted to hold down her skirt and deny him access to her. She would further testify that the defendant was so aggressive in his efforts, she began to bleed. In support of count 10, a neighbor would testify that in early 2024, she was looking out of a window outside of her home and observed the defendant forcefully walking into the driveway with his arm around her neck as it appeared to be restricting those efforts. Hey Theo, good morning. Uh exactly. Apologizing for what I'm about to do. Um Also this he also recorded these instances. One of the times that he strangled the victim, uh he later did it again, and he said I have to do it again because I want to record it. And the recordings were found on his phone. Take with that what you will. If he's recording it, he's repeatedly doing these actions. Like, what's next? What else is there for him to do? He meant what he was doing. He meant all of that. He did what he did. Period. Uh, I'm so mad I don't have this. Anyway, I'm going to read some of these statements. One victim said, I've had to explain bruises, explain silence, explain why I started isolating from people who love me. You didn't just strangle me with your hands, you strangled my voice, my joy, my ability to feel safe in my own body. The same victim also stated that Butler threatened to unalive her if she ever disclosed his actions. A mother of one of the victims provided a statement saying, as a mom, I never thought I'd have to watch my daughter fight this kind of battle. One where she had to prove she was the victim over and over again, while the system made excuse after excuse for the person who hurt her. My daughter has handled this with more strength than most adults could. She still shows up to school, still cheers, still smiles, even when people who should have protected her didn't. Uh, I want also to show you guys this lady. I have to upload another picture for you guys, because it's important for you to see the judge who made this decision to declare him a youthful offender. Um, Good morning, Theo. Good morning, Lincoln. Thank you for coming back after our first debacle, not being able to load up everything the way that we wanted to. But it's okay. We press forward. We move on. I'm going to let you guys see the picture of this judge. This lady. That lady right there is Judge Susan Worthington. She is the one who initially approved Butler's certification as a youthful offender. And this is the status that allowed for a rehabilitation plan rather than the 78 years in adult prison that he was looking at. And this decision has caused public outrage. They have started, since that time, they have started protesting in Oklahoma, showing up to uh, the courthouses, protesting, and they have also signed petitions. They are very, very upset that he was treated so leniently. It is alleged that Jesse Butler's father has very deep ties in the community, and that that's a good question. Is she? I'm sorry. Let me. The question is she voted or appointed? And I was looking for that information, and I have not been able to find out if she is voted in or appointed. I cannot find the information. I looked it up. Lincoln, you want to Google it? Her name is Judge Susan Worthington. If you can find it, Lincoln, let us know. We want to know if she is voted in or appointed, because we want to know if we can get her out of there. Uh, but they have since started a petition, and other lawmakers are trying to ensure that this never happens again by making a law that violent offenses like this are not eligible for youthful offender status, so that this cannot happen again, so that these victims can receive the justice that they deserve. It is really unfortunate because he gets to just go on with his life, and these young ladies' lives are forever altered. It is also said that one of the young ladies that he strangled, her doctor says that she was within seconds of death. That if he had held on for 30 seconds more, she would not have survived that strangulation. And so to look at this young man and say, we'll just give him this slap on the wrist, he can be rehabilitated. I mean, it is proven that serial killers start off abusing animals and their little sisters and brothers, and then they go on to escalate. So, what makes these people think that he will not continue on? He did this with two consecutive girlfriends, and they finally decided we should go to this resource officer and let them know what has happened to us. And as parents, how is it that you turn a blind eye to this? How is it that you're like, screw your kids, Susan. I only have to worry about my own. Thank you, Lincoln. Judge Susan Worthington was voted in, not appointed. So um, I think that means that it's probable that they can just not vote her in again. So let's hope for the best. Let's hope for the best. Let's hope that these people do the right thing. It's also alleged that Susan and the father may have gone to college together. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about Susan going to college with the dad? And perhaps this is the reason why she gave such a lenient sentence. Lincoln. Lincoln is hilarious. He said that he is your neighborhood resident Google specialist. If you want to know some information, we need only to look to Lincoln. He is going to make sure to let us know what is happening. I want to move on because a lot of people are saying that this case and this trial reminds them a lot of a case in Stanford. And that is the case of this young man. Wait a minute, more technical difficulties. I'm telling you, I can't win for losing today. Add the picture. Wow, nothing's happening. Let me try here. Bear with me. We're going to get it together at some point. Here we go. Finally. Uh this young man, I don't know if we should call him a young man or not because these people are more animalistic than anything else. Um he was I'm sorry. I'm trying to get his name for you guys. His last name is Turner. I do know that. But he essentially got off just like uh, this gentleman, Jesse Butler. His name is Brock Turner. Brock assaulted a young lady um, in college. I think like behind a dumpster, they said. Anyway, she had been drinking and she was intoxicated and unable to defend herself. And Mr. Brock Turner decided that this was a good time for him to decide that he would take advantage of her state and have himself a few feels. And a pedestrian, a innocent bystander, comes by, sees what's going on, and they end up holding him until the police arrived and he was arrested for his actions. Uh, I'm he was arrested, and then all of his charges started being lowered, probably because, once again, influence, privilege, money. Um, but the judge in Santa Clara, Judge Aaron Persky, that's the judge right beside Brock, he lowered his sentence and imposed only a 6-month jail sentence with probation. He decided that that was appropriate for this offense. Turner did have to register as a sex offender, but 6 months, he assaulted this woman and was caught in the act and got 6 months. Later, the people in Santa Clara County, was outraged. And so they recalled his judgeship, which basically means that he was taken off the bench. He's no longer the judge in that county because they was not having it. They were outraged that he would lower this sentence in this way. Which is, it's crazy to me that somebody would do that. That you would say, oh, it's just a little grape. It's not a big deal. Uh-oh. We have a correction. We have a correction here. It says that she was appointed as a special district judge and sworn in by her father. So she was not voted in. She was appointed. That means they got to deal with her. Thank you for that correction, Theo. Good morning, Albert. Thank you for joining us this morning. Okay, so Brock's daddy had a few words to say. I'm going to read y'all his letter. Prepare to be further outraged. Brock's father says, as it stands now, Brock's life has been deeply altered forever by the events of January 17th and 18th. He will never be his happy-go-lucky self with that easygoing personality and welcoming smile. His every waking minute is consumed with worry, anxiety, fear, and depression. You can see this in his face, the way he walks, his weakened voice, his lack of appetite. Brock always enjoyed certain types of food and is a very good cook himself. I was always excited to buy him a big ribeye steak to grill or to get his favorite snack for him. I had to make sure to hide some of my favorite pretzels or chips because I knew they wouldn't be around long after Brock walked in. Now he barely consumes any food and eats only to exist. These verdicts have broken and shattered him and our family in so many ways. His life will never be the one that he dreamed about and worked so hard to achieve. That is a steep price to pay for 20 minutes of action out of his 20 plus years of life. The fact that he now has to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life forever alters where he can live, visit, work, and how he will be able to interact with people and organizations. What I know as a father is that the incarceration is not the appropriate punishment for Brock. He has no prior criminal history and has never been violent to anyone, including his actions on the night of January 17th, 2015. Brock can do so many positive things as a contributor to society and is totally committed to educating other college-age students about the dangers of alcohol consumption and sexual promiscuity. By having people like Brock educate others on college campuses, this is how society can begin to break the cycle of binge drinking and its unfortunate results. Probation is the best answer for Brock in this situation and allows him to give back to society in a net positive way. Very respectfully, Dan Turner. His daddy said it was 20 minutes of action. That is what his father is calling a grape. 20 minutes of action. That's what he said. Mhm. I want to read to you a snippet of the victim. In this case, her name is Chanel. During the trial, she was not named. Her name was not given during the trial, but um, later her name was released after he was charged. Her name is Chanel Miller, and I'm going to read just a quick snippet of her statement. She says, "You don't know me, but you've been inside me. In newspapers, my name was unconscious, intoxicated woman. 10 syllables and nothing more than that. I had to force myself to relearn my real name, my identity, to relearn that this is not all that I am, that I am not just a drunk victim at a frat party found behind a dumpster. While you are the all American swimmer at a top university, innocent until proven guilty with so much at stake, you cannot give me, you cannot give me back the life I had." He should have thought about that before the 20 minutes of action he decided to take part of. Theo, I'm right with you. I am right with you in that. It is really sad that because you come from money, because your parents are influential in the community, that you get viewed as this innocent child with much life to look forward to. The boldness of a father to make such a statement that he had 20 minutes of action as if this was a consensual event. He was caught behind a dumpster, assaulting a woman that was unconscious. If it's my child, I make no statement at all unless it's an apology to the people that have been hurt or victimized. And I want to take a pause right here to remind you all to make sure that you like this video. You can step outside of the live for just 1 second and like this video, or you could come back later and do it. But I want to remind you all to like this video, and I wouldn't mind if you shared it as well. And this brings me to another incident. Um, this incident is the opposite, okay? This is when a young person was not treated as kindly, that was not given um the opportunity for, or didn't have the privilege and the opportunity to get a slap on the wrist because they didn't have the right connections. And so I want to make sure that you guys know about this young man, because his life was forever changed too. And he wasn't given the opportunity to get probation. This young man was convicted. He was convicted in Florida in 2001. He his name is Lionel Tate, and in 2001 he was 13 years old. He was convicted of unaliving his sister. You guys may be familiar with this case. Um, he was a young boy playing roughhousing with his sister. They were wrestling, and she died at his hands, by his hands, because of the wrestling acts that he was trying to, make a move on her. He accidentally, according to him and his mother, this was an accident, but according to prosecution, it was intentional. And they prosecuted him to the fullest extent of the law. And he was given a life sentence for this. They say that in July of 1999, that his sister Tiffany, that he intentionally unalived Tiffany, and that she sustained blunt trauma injuries when she was playing with him. And they basically say that he knew she was hurting, and that he could have stopped at any time. I don't know why it's taking so long for this photo to load. It's crazy because on my screen it says it's loaded. Can you all see the photo yet? Yes or no? Okay. Can you guys see the photo? I don't know what the delay is today. It's like I am struggling with my media today. Anyway, this is why I need a producer. Okay, I need somebody to come in here and handle all of this so I don't have to be worrying about it. Who wants to be my producer? Yes. Anyway, Lionel was sentenced to life in this case. They did not look at the fact that he was a youthful offender. He didn't get the benefit of that. I know that they had offered his mother a plea deal where he would have done like 12 years or something like that, and she rejected that plea deal because she felt he was innocent. It was an accident, and it was just a really unfortunate accident. And they said, nope, mm-mm, it's not an accident. We're going to, I believe that a lot of it had to do with his size because he was a really big kid. I think he was like 6 feet tall, 180 pounds at 13. And so, that they look at us differently. We're viewed as dangerous. And a lot of times, our children, male and female, do not get the benefit of, oh, you're just a kid, simply by how we look and how we are developed. And so I believe that this happened to Lionel in this case. And I think that his mother thought that she was doing the right thing by him. She didn't think that he should spend 10 to 12 years in an adult prison at 13. And after this case, I remember it well. After this case, a lot of people was like, blaming the mother. She should have taken a deal and this and that. And I'm sure this is a very difficult position to be in as a parent, especially if you believe that your child is innocent. You don't want to have them to suffer unnecessarily. You want to give them the best opportunity. And in this case, she thought the best she could do was to, I'm trying one more time to get this picture up. The best that she could do was to take it to trial. I think she probably thought there is no way anybody would believe that he did this intentionally. It's just no way. And unfortunately, she gambled and she lost in this case. Finally, finally, Lionel's picture comes up. Theo says, I had a friend that size when we were in the 8th grade. We wrestled all the time. I could have easily been hurt. Exactly. But the difference is, in that instance, Theo, is that that was your friend and not your brother. It is really a big leap to think that a brother is intentionally trying to unalive their sibling. You know, they were doing what kids do. I remember that my kids, my older two, boy and a girl, they were home alone after school, and they were playing, running around in the house, chasing each other. And when I got home, they were both sitting on the couch, all innocent, like arm around each other. I'm like, what y'all did? And my son is like, Courtney hit her eye on the table. I had like a glass cocktail table, and it's round, so it's not, not really sharp edges. So I'm like, okay, let me look at it. I take her in the bathroom to look at this cut and realize it's like not just a little, it's a gash. Like you could see through to the white meat. I didn't think that he intentionally hurt his sister. I thought that they were kids doing what you told them not to do. No running in the house, no roughhousing in the house. They are children. They're not going to always follow the rules, okay? Especially when no one's looking. And I honestly believe that that's probably what happened in this case. He was being too rough with her. He is bigger than her. He is stronger than her. And maybe he should have known that he could hurt her. But also, he has the mind of a 13-year-old. He's a child. You're looking at him as this big, strong guy, but he's a child. Anyway, it's really unfortunate that these things happen, and even more sad that we are not all afforded the same privileges. We don't all get to be charged as a youthful offender because our dad is connected in the community. And so this has to stop. I know that Oklahoma is trying to get the laws changed so that violent um, accused are not allowed to be labeled as youthful offenders, so that something like this never happens again. I mean, my heart goes out to the victims in this case because they have to forever deal with this. They all live in the same community. I mean, are they going to up and move? I mean, he basically got away with this crime, and we tell victims to come forward. And then when they do, they're treated this way. And so this is very unfortunate. I'm sure that we will hear more about the Jesse Butler case. I agree, to jump to that conclusion for siblings is ludicrous. It is ludicrous, but also this young man does not look like Jesse Butler, and that is just unfortunate and where we are in this world. It's just what it is, and it's still very unfortunate. And so We have to continue to vote, not just in the presidential elections, but in the midterms, so that we can try to prevent as best we can these things from happening. You need to really be looking into who these people are that are running for office in your town. You don't just check because uh of whatever their affiliation is. Sometimes you really need to start researching and looking into these people, see how they voted in the past, see how they have aligned themselves in the past before we start electing these people that could adversely affect the rest of our lives. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, the world has never met another you. Go out and be great in it. Thank you for joining me for this Saturday morning's live, the Me the Jury segment. And I'll see you guys back here next Saturday where we're going to do it all again. Have an amazing Saturday. Bye bye.